Hi, and guys, welcome to another day. Today is day 30 of Miracle March. We've been doing this every single day for 30 days, y'all, in a row, where we have been empowering aspiring entrepreneurs, giving them tools to succeed in their businesses. And it's been such an amazing time to get these random personalities who I have no idea of, and to be able to pour into them, to be able to guide them in the direction and give them feedback that can inspire them and go into their business and make a difference. And today we got my man Jose. Jose, how you doing, bro?
Doing well, doing well. How about yourself?
Man, I'm doing pretty awesome, man. And you know, admittedly, earlier I said to Jose, I actually thought he was a different person just by the name, and so I'm happy that this is my first time actually interacting with you one on one,
Yep.
and that makes me happy. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's start jumping into whatever questions you may want me to answer, bro.
Well, real briefly, I ended up meeting you with Kalisha Carter at the Tampa event. It was just
Ah, okay.
so you might remember my face from there. It was really quick. There was so many people there. That was an amazing.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. And yeah, it's been a good time. It's been like trial by fire, man. Learning everything, navigating this new business. I've been in real estate 17 years, so I've done traditional real estate for that
Oh,
long.
wow.
2005. I honestly started getting pretty bored of it. I like a challenge. I like trying new things, learning new things, and it was becoming more of a just a routine. It was getting redundant, client,
Hmm.
client out. Just, I mean, money's good, but money's not everything. Um,
Right.
so for me, I needed more fulfillment. I dipped over in 2008, 9, 10. I went over to the bank side. So I was doing BPOs for the banks,
Mm.
working on evictions, pre foreclosures, doing comps for the banks and all that stuff. So that was fun. But through that, it led me to a ton of investors through that whole era. So
Hmm.
that in that space, I ended up meeting about 5 or 7 like consistent investors that were just buying properties from me from the leads that I had anyway from the bank. So we would try and save all these homeowners before the auction day, before the banks came and did their foreclosure thing.
Hmm.
I was able to help out quite a few homeowners back in that time frame. So that was much more fulfilling, as much as it did take from me, because
Hmm.
situations where it just gets sad. Um,
Yeah.
there's just nothing you can do. You show up in a house and all the belongings are just left behind. It looks like people just left in a rush. Stoves on for a couple days.
Wow.
It was just like the movies, like The Big Short. I lived through that.
Mm. Wow.
So now I feel like I get a second chance at doing this from the investor standpoint, where I have more control on what properties I do help out, what I don't, what I would like to keep, what I just send out. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this new journey, for this new second trial, and just going through it, going through the motions.
Bro, that's pretty awesome, man. And it's I'm interested in, I mean, you've done BPOs, you know what it's like back there. And so how has your journey been now as an investor with the knowledge that you know, because you actually have a cheat code in doing a ton of deals.
Exactly.
What does that look like?
So with this, instead of just keeping it all to myself and using it as a catapulting my business, I'm I'm realizing that now I'm an elephant leader the past couple challenges. So what I'm doing is I'm helping the people that are coming into this space as an investor or just trying to do the new things with these auction properties or what's to come because the next couple months is going to be a little scary. Um,
Hmm.
Trying to teach everybody what I nobody taught me. I kind of just learned on the go. So if they can learn from my errors from my past, it'll be a much easier road for them too.
Wow, bro, that's pretty awesome of you. Um, and I feel like that's definitely something that we connect on because I mean everything that I do is based on trying to help the previous version of myself, right? And even with a new program that we just launched, Purpose Ways, that program is designed to teach people coming out of their 9 to 5 all the things I wish I knew before becoming my own boss. That's what it's designed for, man, because you get on this journey and it's just like you're grinding it out, right? You're just like, your eyes closed, but you're just pushing, 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 and it's like, hey, let me help you get to where you want to get to without the brute force, without the extra stress. You do not have to go through what we went through, and so that's pretty awesome of you, man. And it's interesting because you said that initially you wanted to find something more purposeful.
Right.
Do you feel like that's filling that cup for you?
Um, for me, I've always been the type of person that if I can make someone change their mood from sad to happy, that was my fulfillment for a
Hmm.
long time. That's why I feel like I didn't go into real estate with that. I just ended up staying in the real estate game because of that. I would help homeowners out, and I would just know when we go through a home if it was a good fit for them or not, just by the look in their eyes or by the way the kids acted in the house when they would run through and just check it out. Like
Yeah.
it's just a different energy when it's the right house for them. So as far as fulfillment, I love that part of the journey. But now I feel like it's a good portion of my fulfillment, but now it's not everything. Now I've learned that I need to fill my own cup in my way before
Yeah.
I do it for others. So that's what I've been working on for like the last year and a half. I think I started January last year. So that whole journey of enlightenment, the spiritual journey gets different. I've got it next. What happened to your
Can you hear me still? Because you're so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So you're. Are you saying that you're still in discovery right now for a clearer path and purpose for yourself?
Absolutely. Um, it's been something that I've been missing for a while. So I feel like I am just at the very beginning of this journey of self discovery, figuring out when I need to set my limits as far as giving, because I can give all day long, and
Sure.
it won't bother my body, it won't bother my mind because that's where I find fulfillment. But at the same time, I'm not noticing what's coming in.
Mm.
What's coming in? What am I feeding myself? Um, other than pineapples and a shake in the middle of the afternoon. But truly, it's like it starts with nutrition, it starts with exercise, all these small things that you don't really see as filling your own cup. That's exactly what you need.
Oh my gosh, dude. Tell me about it. It's so funny you said that because I'm also building and creating an app for my new clients.
Mm,
And a part of I'm building out like morning routines and things like that. And this morning I put in there like exercise and meditation time and that type of stuff. So I know you get fulfilled by helping others see, get a new home. You save people from losing their homes and that type of stuff, which I think is amazing. Do you have any idea or thoughts on what could actually fill your cup, Jose?
that's what I'm working on. um, I thought filling my cup would be doing a sport or an activity that had nothing to do with business. It was, but it's 10%, if that.
Yeah.
Then I started going into exercising and doing my runs and things like that. Another 5, 10%. So I'm thinking in my new head, my like I said, I'm a baby to this. I'm thinking I'm just gonna find something and it's gonna fill me. Like it's a combination of things that will fill you. So you have to have grace with yourself when you don't do one piece of that routine that you're trying to stick to. And if you lose that piece and you feel like you lost everything, that's not true because it's just a piece of
Yeah.
what you need. So you have to, at the same time, as much as you want to build structure and a routine, you got to give yourself grace to mess up. And okay, today I decided I just want to go full blast into work. It's okay. Tomorrow I'll get better at it.
Yeah. So, what version of yourself? Because not sure your age, but if you were to go back in every year of your life and just kind of reflecting, every year may have had a different challenge. It may have had a different thing to work through, and different growth spurts, right?
Yeah.
What version of yourself do you think you would want to help the most? And to say, man, I don't want my 17-year-old Jose to ever go through like college like this. Like, oh my gosh, if I could just direct them. You know how sometimes you're watching a movie and you're talking to the TV and you're like, "Don't go around the corner. Someone's there." Right?
Yeah.
Which version of yourself would you direct to not go around that corner and to do something else?
So I went through this question a few months ago, just actually during meditation one morning, and that just came to me, and it was so easy. I realized it was my 24-year-old, 24, 25, mid 20s version of myself. I remember at that age, my daughter was just born. She was born in 2010. I'm 36 years old. Um, she was born in 2010, and I remember at that time thinking right before she was born, like, there's no time. I've got to grow up. I've got to do this faster. I've got to get my business off the ground. My daughter's about to be born. Like, there is just no time. I've got to hit it, and I got to hit it hard and quickly because I'm getting to my 30s. And once I hit my 30s, like, my goodness, you're going to like slow down a bit. You're not going to have the energy you have now. God, I was so wrong. That was like, I am an infant at that age. There was so much more time, but you didn't think that way. And I feel like if I would have told myself to take it slower, I would have accomplished more.
Mm,
Being in that rat race and pushing myself faster to grow faster, to do more things, I feel like scattered me instead of making me progress with purpose.
wow, that's huge, man. And so, are you thinking that being able to help young men who may be married or not,
Mhm.
but who are having kids, young fathers, are you wanting to help them kind with direction as to what they could do and more purpose driven type things?
Absolutely. And I try and encourage people too, because there's so few people that will encourage you at the beginning of the journey with your first child or when they're very young and tell you where you are. You just, I don't know, everybody is so stuck on like, as soon as the child's born, it's like, go, 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 instead of recognizing where you are and realizing, damn, I'm in a good spot to build from here. There's a lot of people that don't give themselves that praise to recognize that you're in a good spot compared to others.
Mhm.
Just because you're young doesn't mean that you need to have accomplished or you just had your child that you had to have your business set and ready to go or everything figured out. Like everybody, regardless of your age, I feel like is figuring it out.
Wow. And do you know how many lives you could impact just by sharing these stories? Because you're so right. I had my son when I was 21, had my son when I was 21,
Okay.
and it was such like I was so nervous about it, and that's because in my head I'm like I just have to be the best father possible ever, right? Because I got to be responsible for this human, and it's like, you know, I can't return him back to his parents, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so you go in thinking so much, and then you get there, and you kind of figure it out, you know. You realize that I don't want to say it's not that serious, but life isn't going to end the way that you thought.
Yeah.
And so, what would that look like for you in terms of being able to walk in this purpose? And that's part one to the question. The second part to that question is, have you already started to sprinkle some of this in your lifetime right now?
It's funny you ask that because I mean, there's one thing to know it, and then there's one thing to actually act it and make it a, a piece of your life, your daily habits, right?
Yeah.
Um, I try and build structure. I try and have routines, but in the business we're in, with real estate and being an entrepreneur and building things up, it's so hard to maintain structure and a routine because you just want to grab opportunities when they're there. Um, so as far as just knowing where I'm implementing things, I've implemented it on just small stuff like putting my phone on automatic do not disturb by 11:30 p.m. until 7 a.m. Nothing's touching, nothing's coming in and out. Making sure that in the morning when I wake up, I'm up at like 5:45, 6. If I don't go for a run, I'll go for a walk and walk my puppy. Or if I don't feel the energy to go and do that, I'll just sit in front of my bed and just meditate, sit in silence, turn off the AC, turn off vents, turn off everything, figure out what thoughts come into my mind when just sitting there. Sometimes there's nothing, and there's other days that a ton comes in, uh,
Hmm.
and figuring that out as you go along your day because it gives you some energy. And sometimes it's the thoughts that come into your mind when you're meditating. They they're like preemptive. They tie to the what's about to come throughout the day, and
Yeah.
it's so odd. I don't know if you've experienced that, but there's some days where I'll say a word and it comes out later on in that day. I'm like, where did I hear that? And I was like, oh, geez, I was meditating and I heard that. How
Yeah.
does how does that happen? There's unexplainable things that happen to you, and some people call it coincidences. Some people call it miracles. I feel like we have the power to bring whatever's about to come into our day as long as we start it right and with intention. We can bring it. We can fulfill our day the way we want.
Dude, you're taking me down a whole path that it's let let's address what you're talking about right now, but I do want to get back the purpose, right? We are the creator of our day. And I could give you a book to read that would help you understand more of that as to manifestation, because we imagine if we like it or not, if we know if we're doing it or not. And when you sit and you meditate, it's either you're trying to quiet your mind to be present in this very present moment and not go somewhere, or you're intentionally visualizing something, right? You're visualizing the future, you're visualizing your goals, the life that you want to create. And what you're explaining is that there are times when you sit in your quiet time, you start visualizing the future, and you're almost rehearsing the day. And then you walk into the day and you're like, the exact thing that I visualized just happened. And it's like, how cool is that, right? And you could set that intention every single day, because have you ever you're married, right?
Single.
Single. Okay. So have you ever realized that before getting into a conversation, a disagreement, whatever you may want to phrase it as, with someone, that you rehearse the entire conversation before getting in there?
There's such a downfall to certain personalities with that because you won't say what's on your mind because you're already thinking about the response you're about to get.
1,000%.
And that's something people need to practice on, just letting it out and let people have their thoughts. Let people surprise you. You won't get a surprise if you're always guessing for other people and what their response will be.
Right. And but we do it anyway.
But we do it anyway.
And because we're not trained, but we've been trained to do it that way.
Mhm.
And so we use this power of imagination every single day without knowing, and but we do it for more negative things than for setting up our day, for visualizing the intent of the day, what you actually, how you would actually like for things to go with intention versus um versus the opposite. Because when someone hate their boss and you're like, man, this damn 9 to 5 that I keep going to and I just hate my job, they don't realize that going in, they've already rehearsed the entire day of hating their boss, hating their job, hating all these things. And so they walk into having a crappy day because you've already rehearsed it,
Programmed it.
programmed it. Exactly. And from what you're sharing, we all have this power. We all have this superpower of imagination to have the day that we want, to have the life that we want.
Yeah.
But it's getting disciplined with our imagination. And we have, I've heard it said this way, I can't remember who said it, but we have a poverty of imagination,
Hmm. We do.
which is just programmed. And so,
The thing is, it's not always our fault. We like to take blame for it, and partially we do, but it's also the things you absorb. The things you absorb, if you, whenever you're bored or you have some free time and you pop on the TV, you're going to absorb that. And whatever energy that's on the other side of that black screen, that's what you're going to take with you to bed. That's what you're going to take with you in the morning. And you think, oh, this is my relaxed time. I don't get to think about things. You are subconsciously thinking about things.
exactly.
So it's the
Whose
most difficult thing.
whose fault is it?
Wish I had an answer for you. It's ours. It's ours. But we're in a society where this is normal. So unless you pull yourself from a society where it's normal, how are you supposed to progress? Do you have people before you that are teaching you these things? I had to learn the hard way. I went into like a deep depression for like 6 months after my second relationship, thinking like, what the heck am I doing wrong? So that's what I was in a relationship for 13 years with the mother of my child. I took something with me that was very deep, and I'll share with you guys. My grandfather was big on making sure that a relationship was worked out no matter what. You stay in the relationship, you work on it, you go through your trials and tribulations, but no matter what, you don't split up. And I took that and I ran with it when my daughter was born. But at the same time, I noticed not every lesson that the people before you that teach you, and because they're wise and they have good things to say, doesn't mean you have to live by it either. There is a small percentage of people where you're supposed to leave that relationship if it's bad for you. You're supposed to drop things that are not worth your time. You have a life that only you know where you want it to go. It's on you. It's your life. So if you were to go by what somebody else gave you advice on, what does that say about you? And you're no longer the lack of imagination. You're no longer making your own life. You're living somebody else's life. So that was very hard to break that mold, that 13-year-old relationship. Went into my next one. That one was 3 years. The lesson I took from my first relationship was don't be so focused on work. Do more time, give more time to the relationship. So I brought that into my next relationship, and COVID came. I had a ton of time to give to the relationship, maybe too much to the detriment of. So when COVID came out, we're thinking, wow, we made it through COVID. COVID was beautiful. We spent so much time together. We traveled with the kids. We did this, we did that. And then we got out of COVID and reality hit again. Now we're back into the real world and we don't have that time we had before. So it stressed the relationship and ultimately ended up breaking it. So I could go on all day about this, man, but it's it's tough. You just got to have the experiences. You have to have the will to just fail and just go about it and learn from your past.
Man, I think like what you're sharing is so beautiful, dude. And I want to ask, like, you mentioned in what you went through in your relationship, in reality coming back. What makes that out reality? What makes having to go back to work? We just talked about being able to create our own reality.
Yep.
So reality hit or programming hit? Which
Pro-
programming hit?
100%. And it's there is a piece of reality because everybody. I mean, you can also. This term, this guy that I follow, Danny Morell, he brought it to me when I was in my self discovery journey. He said, "You can be a hippie, but you have to be a modern hippie. If you're gonna go down the route of self discovery, it doesn't mean you drop trying to make some money because how are you actually gonna live? That's a false world. So reality is being able to find balance in yourself and in work, to be able to fulfill yourself at work and at home with your relationship and without. You have to have that balance. And if you can find balance in everything, that's your success. It's not the money, it's not where you are in life. The success is balance.
Man, I have a different opinion about
That's okay. I would love to
it.
hear it.
And this is why I love these discussions, right? Because balance on the scale is zero. So I
Mhm.
like to give everything 100 with the allotted time that we have for it. But here's something that I also learned from a mentor, leader, person that I also live by. Your job is something that you work to get paid. Your work is your purpose. They both pay you. But when you work, you get paid, but you feel purposeful doing it. And you probably never quit working, but you probably want to leave your job. Do you see the difference between job and work?
Repeat that again because I feel like job and work are the same thing. You're ultimately gonna try and get grow out of that thing and go over to a career where you can build it and leave it running.
So right now, I'm working.
Okay.
Right now, I'm working. This fulfills me more than most things that I do. It's a different fulfillment when I'm with my wife. It's a different fulfillment when I'm with my kids. Like, totally different fulfillment. This fulfills me in a way that, and I've done and done so many different things that this would always be my work. This, and I get paid very well to do what I'm doing here for you, with you, right? Have these conversations. But when I do it, I do not feel like it's a job. I am not watching the clock. I am not like, oh my God, when is the buzzer gonna ring? When is lunchtime? I can't wait to clock out. Matter of fact, some of my clients are on here. Ask Alicia. She would tell you. She's in my high performance coaching program. It's slotted for 90 minutes. Dude, I go 3 hours plus because I just absolutely love what I do.
Yeah.
And so that's not a job. I hear a lot of coaches, man, they are so prompt, just like you have that timer going off. Man, boom, in and out, boom, in and out, boom, in and out.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're so structured, and that's great. I need more structure, right? When it comes to these things. But dude, when I'm working, when I'm doing this, I can sit in this seat and talk for a lifetime and help people for a lifetime simply because of the fulfillment that goes with it for me.
Yeah. As long as we're on this topic, yeah, I can stay here a couple hours too. It's easy. It's for some it's very difficult to own it. For some it's very difficult to be their own critic. For me, that comes second nature. It's just like I am my own worst critic. There's nothing anybody can tell me that's worse than what's already going on here. I gotta push myself. I've gotta do better. I've gotta rest. Sometimes I like grab myself again and get back to zero. So yeah, I know what you mean.
So what makes you, because I hear people say this all the time, and to some degree I might be my worst critic. I don't think so. I think people may criticize me more than I criticize myself because I laugh at myself a lot. And so in doing that, I laugh at myself when I criticize myself and I'm okay with saying, man, I suck today. Right? Like I'm totally fine with doing that. And that's the reason why is because I understand that there's a difference between your roles and your identity.
And you can laugh.
I can laugh at my roles. Right now, as much as I love doing this is a role.
Mm-hmm.
Me as a husband, that's a role. Me as a father, that's a role. So every time I do something that's unloving to my wife, I could go back the next day and be like, dude, in my meditation time, in my devotional time, I could say, Keston, what you did there as a husband was not cool. You got to improve on that. But it doesn't make me feel any less of a man. It doesn't make me feel any less worthy of anything because my identity is different than my role.
You know who you are deep down.
Exactly.
You know, it could be fixed. But those that don't know it could be fixed and don't recognize and don't see that in themselves, that's where it gets dangerous.
That's where I try to empower people in understanding that first, so that they could approach things and get to purpose, because that's exactly why many people don't try working on their purpose. Because more than likely, like I told you, I tried so many different things, bro. And now I'm finally here, but I was willing to try and willing to laugh at myself and be like, oop, well, I tried this. That wasn't it. Oop, I tried this. Man, that wasn't it. Oop, I tried this. But at every junction, you start to, the thing that you do starts to become your identity. And so I had that identity crisis when I stopped being a DJ for a bit. And this is what kind of got me to start really going down this path of understanding, because people knew me to be a DJ. I had a level of reputation and all of that went with it. And when you take power away from someone, it's just like, man, who am I? What am I doing? And so what I did was I went to Egypt for 3 weeks and spent time kind of just figuring myself out. Right. And so once you get to that place, you start understanding and laughing at yourself instead of stressing yourself, because now I'm not afraid to try something, because my identity isn't tied to the thing that I'm doing, which is why even at this very second, while I may do real estate, you know me through real estate and the things that I've done in real estate, but I've said, hey, while I have the credibility of a real estate investor, I don't want to be known as this real estate investor guru guy. I want to be known as somebody that can help transform minds. I want to help people figure out their identity, figure out their purpose, figure out these things, because that's what I feel the most purposeful doing.
Yeah.
Most people they wouldn't have the courage to do that, to let go of that repetition, to let go of all that stuff. Oh my God, my leads. Oh my God, all this credibility that I've built. I'm so attached to it. Man, I could drop it like a hot cake and be like, I'm done. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing now.
Because you have this.
But what is this?
This is the ability to recognize who you are, where you are, and more about you than anything else. Because you could jump into another business completely and you're still carrying yourself around in all these businesses. So
Yes.
Nothing has changed. The only thing that changes, what you said, is the role.
100%.
That's why it's so important to just fulfill yourself. I didn't know this. I lived 34 years of my life going around blind. And when I found it, I was like, why isn't this taught in school?
Exactly.
What the heck is going on? I was cheated out of like a bunch of years out of my life. But that was initially. And then I found out if I didn't go through any of that in my life, I wouldn't be here where I am. So
That 100%.
no problem. I could live with the failures, with the ups and downs. I could live with it because I actually got here. Most people don't even get here.
That's true. True.
But that's practicing grace with yourself.
Exactly. And like you, bro, and I could see the passion in you in this. This is why I have sold out to doing this full time and helping people and being able to guide them on this path, because it's almost, if you didn't have to go through the hurt, the heartache, the pain that we went through to get to this place, if we could just help you skip that pain and help you get there, like you said, this should be taught in schools.
Yeah.
We have the opportunity to bring this change.
Yeah.
It's scary. Like right now, I'm going through my own terror barrier of what does doing this full time look like? I do it. God's blessed me to have clients and people that trust me. Thank God.
Yeah.
But what does a full business in this really look like? I'm figuring that out right now. And there's that part of me that's scared, crapless, right? Like that's like, holy crap, how do you figure this out? But then there's the other part of me that understand the laws of the universe, because I study it so much, and I know what needs to happen, and I know I need to go through it scared.
Do you feel like you still go through imposter syndrome sometimes?
I wouldn't call it imposter syndrome. I don't have and it's because of my understanding.
Because you're not trying to be somebody else. So it's not, what do you call it? Because I guess I used the wrong word. It's not imposter. Imposter's trying to be somebody else. What would you call maybe not feeling like you're not, I don't know. There's so many times where I've given advice and I'm like, should I be giving this advice, or should I just like let them find it on their own? Maybe I should just release. And sometimes the best way to learn is through making mistakes. I don't know. There's just that really weird middle ground.
I think that comes I'm trying to see where to start from. I feel like I need to give a runway to take off kind of answer, right? Where there needs to be a little bit of background.
Yeah.
And in understanding who you are, in understanding the laws of nature, and one of those laws right now that I want to touch on is thinking from the thing that you visualize, right? So I have a goal to be bigger and greater than Tony Robbins, right? That's a goal of mine. That's what I have my eyes on. And so thinking from that, a lot of things that I do challenges my perspective as to how I respond. Do I respond like Keston? Because Keston doesn't have the experience. Keston doesn't have the habits and the things to do like Tony Robbins does. But if I think from it, then in visualizing, and like some of the laws of not laws, let's say the things that people encourage you to do to make it actually work, is that you got to feel the feeling now, right? You got to experience, you got to live it, right?
Yeah.
You can only live it if you think from it. You can't think of it. When you think of it, you're like, well, that's over there and I want to get there one day. That's not living it. And so when you live in it and you think from it, now you carry yourself and you get there a lot faster, simply because you're living and you're walking in it.
And easier, right? Because you have so much more an aura that just starts attracting.
Exactly. This is the entire thing with the law of attraction, because now you carry yourself like it, and now people, they don't even understand why they're attracted to you. And it's because your demeanor, how you carry yourself, they don't even know that they're looking at the future you, right?
They see you how you see yourself.
Exactly. When you hold that, now we're using willpower. So we're using different intellectual faculties here, where the first one was imagination. We also use perception, where you see yourself as that person. And now we're using willpower to hold that thought in front of you as long as you possibly can, because anytime you deviate from believing or thinking that you're that, you go back to your old person, and now you start doubting yourself because that person hasn't actually caught up there yet.
You gotta flick that guy off. That little devil that keeps coming back, and you're just like looking at the angel and the devil, and it's just like, man, it's hard to let go of that person because that's all you were.
And the habits hasn't changed yet.
Yeah.
There still may be habits because our paradigms are still controlling us, right? And so until we're in the frequency of the habits of that future person, then there's that terror barrier that you have to go through. There's no exceptions of it. You have to go through it because you got to build the new habits and replace the old ones.
Yeah.
So all of that to say, runway to say, that's the reason why for me, because I intentionally practice everything, that process we just talked about, I don't find myself feeling an imposter syndrome or feeling like it's not my place to share these things. And also I tend to stay within my own experiences and not things that I haven't done. Like I only share, and my commitment to anyone that I help, that I only talk about things that I've done personally and not things that I've read about. If I haven't applied it, I can't talk about it. And
it shows. It would show immediately. As soon as you start talking, you'll know it shows, because you have a passion from the things you know and the things you've done right and wrong. It just comes naturally. But the second you start talking about things that you don't know, people are going to see it. Whether you believe it or not, people are going to see it in you. And you're just like, nah, that's fake.
Exactly. And you know why? And this is why, bro, like the things that we're talking about, you're absolutely right. But what I teach my clients is like the the laws behind it, right? Because you have your conscious mind and you have your subconscious mind, right? And your subconscious mind is what controls your body. And so you could say something intellectually from your conscious mind, but your subconscious mind, it conflicts with what's saying in your subconscious mind, and your body shows that you're not telling the truth, because intellectually you're saying something, but subconsciously your body is showing something totally different. And until there's congruency between both, then you know that that person is telling the truth. Which is why when clients come in and they, how you doing today? What's your quick win? And they share something, and I'm like, but what's really going on? They're like, how did you know? I'm like, I could see your subconscious in your body.
It's the pitch in the voice. It's the posture. It's
Everything.
where your eyes go. Yeah.
Exactly, bro. This is the NLP and all that type of stuff that's in there, right? Like, and I like, if you haven't noticed, I like the laws behind it, because laws are definite. When you could know a law, if you understand the law of gravity and you know how to manipulate the law of gravity, then you could use gravity to create anything, because you understand the law. It's definite. You can't change it. You got to work with it.
Yeah.
In the same way, goal creation, achieving things, they all follow laws, which is why, like, when I post about deals that I do, I don't post about the stupid deal. I try to share the laws that help me get to the deal. And a lot of people are like, what's the numbers and all that type of stuff? And I'm like, you're missing the point, bro. Like, you're missing the gift that I'm trying to share. Like, this has nothing to do with, like, the physical asset.
Yeah.
It's the laws and the mindset behind it. But I understand that until someone need-wise are met, where their needs, they feel like, I need to provide, I just need a deal now, I just need like to close on something. Until those are met, what we're talking about right now, kind of, they're like, I don't want to hear this trash. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, this isn't for me, you know?
Because they're
And
coming
I
from
can,
a place of desperation. And when you come and you act from a place of desperation, that's what you're gonna get back. And usually it's gonna either whatever you're looking for, whether it's money, whether it's time, it's not gonna be what you want because you're not giving the right energy out.
100%.
But
100%.
I just feel bad because there's so many people that need to hear this, and there's so many people that aren't taught this, and they're going around with their lives. Probably people right now listening to this, where they're just like scrolling through, and it's just like, oh, they're just doing that talk again. But you have to stop, play this whole thing back, and realize if you don't do these small things that are kind of whatever to you right now because you're so mission focused, if you don't do any of these things, that mission you're on won't get accomplished. Throw it up.
It won't. It won't, man. And again, dude, this is like, I got to get you in my community, man, because you have a lot of value to share, and I really appreciate this conversation, man, because dude, this is my entire mission, and I believe having a community of people on the same focus, thinking about the same things, doesn't have to be in the same place of life, but just understand and know, like, it's almost like getting ready to run a Tough Mudder, right? Like, or a triathlon or something. And it's like, I know this journey is gonna suck, but I want to finish, right? And that's the community of people that I want to have, because it's like, it's not easy. Transforming your mind is not easy at all. But what I could guarantee is, if you are committed to doing it, and you do it together, and you're able to call and say, Jose, man, I'm having one of those days, bro, where I just need encouragement because I'm scared that that other person is winning today. You know what I mean? We all have those days.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
all. I am no exception to the law at all.
Nobody is.
And what I tell people is, I just have a system because I understand what my mind is going to go through. So you have a system in place for when that happens, so that you can still.
Yeah, and you go back to it. You mess up, go back to where, because you know who you are, like you said from the beginning. At the end, if you build that good base, that solid base where you can always go back to, start fresh, and just build a new foundation a little bit higher, and a little higher, and a little higher. And pretty soon, before you know it, you're just like, I've got this. It's easy.
Yes,
I messed up, but this is fine. I can control this.
yes.
Uh,
Bro, this has been an amazing conversation, dude. We definitely need to do this again.
Absolutely.
Make sure we keep connected.
Would love.
Um, and you see what see what I'm talking about when it comes to my work. This was supposed to be 30 minutes. Like we're
Yeah.
see when it comes to this work, bro. I'm
No.
okay with I like the level of fulfillment that I have.
Yeah.
No check is gonna give me what I feel now having this conversation.
Hmm.
Telling you.
I love it.
So any final words you want to share, brother?
Final words. There's gonna come a point where you're gonna work really, really hard, and nothing is gonna work. You're gonna push and push and push, and you're gonna come with a good heart, with a good energy, and you're gonna take our advice that we had here today, and nothing's gonna work. Just know that if you're at that plateau, you're about to break through.
Mm.
I know it because I'm going through my third plateau right now, and I can feel it in my bones. I'm about to break through, and once I do break through, that's that next platform that we're talking about. So just don't worry that it's not working out. Just know that it will, and you're that much closer to the success.
Bro, amazing, man. Thank you so much for being here and
Of course, man.
coming on this platform and sharing with everyone here in Miracle March.
Of
It's been
course.
a true honor having you, and I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, brother.
I didn't even know this was going on. I thought we were just gonna have this one-on-one. All of a sudden, I'm on YouTube live and on your miracle one. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And it's my birthday month. March 2nd was my birthday, so I started with that, and I'm ending with you. And this is beautiful.
Dude, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you. Happy belated birthday. March is the month of great people.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank
so, guys, day 30 of Miracle March has been truly amazing. Thank you all for being here. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and share this link with someone who you think that this conversation could impact, because that's what we're after. We want to be able to impact the world, and we could use your help. So like and subscribe, share the link, and we will see you tomorrow for day 31. Tomorrow is the last day of Miracle March. It doesn't mean that we stop helping. It just means that it's the last day of Miracle March, with where this intentional month of helping aspiring entrepreneurs here live on YouTube, it would be coming to a close. And thank you guys so much. Truly amazing session. Peace and love. Catch you all tomorrow.